Okay, go. You're on now.
Okay, now I'm allowed to say something?
Yeah, now you can talk.
Good morning, everybody. Welcome back to Coffee with Classy. As per Haley's instructions, I need to take my time and let some people get on the feed before I start talking about what's going on today. Also, last week, Haley called my Coffee with Classy boring, so we decided to amp it up a little bit. So, hey, we brought in the Trev. So he is our licensed motorcycle slash Harley Davidson slash Spider slash
good morning, guy.
Private dancer, Trevor Cushing, our licensed Harley Davidson mechanic, and of course on my left here we have Cameron Palmer from Allstate Insurance. And we're just going to sort of open up the phones today, and the phones. We're going to open up the comments, Haley's going to be watching and paying attention there and seeing how the questions come in. So you may as well let it fly. But I may as well, in the meantime, talk about a few little things that we got going on here. The calendar photo contest is on right now. Hey, Shar, can you grab us a calendar there just to show people what the calendar contest all entails?
I'm not going to grab Haley's. It's got a lot of stuff on it.
Yeah, don't use mine.
Yeah, Haley's not space for work calendar, so. But yeah, so the calendar contest is happening. So make sure you come in. Like, look at the beautiful pictures. So what you're actually trying to win right now, by sending in your photos, is these big ones up here. So
prime real estate.
These are called well, you won't get that one. There's basically 10 pictures that will go in. This one here, it was fixed. That was my picture. So. But anyway, so there's 10 pictures available. So make sure you send in your best photos. And again, we have a great time looking at them all. There's lots of little subs in here and stuff like that, but the main photos is what you're sort of aiming for. So, and yeah, we're working on our calendar. So that means that we're planning next year's event. So everybody who had an event here this year who wants to have an event again next year, make sure that you get in touch with us before we print this, which will probably be sometime in November. So, yeah. So, and again, this year we're going to be using this as we're going to be working in conjunction with HD Rock again to raise money for Sick Kids Children's Charity. So, it's a great cause and it's easy to do. So, and you know what, we might have some really cool non-motorcycle stuff this year happening. You never know. We might even bring in. We're probably going to jump in the lake again. You want to jump in the lake again?
I'm jumping in the lake whether the cameras are on or not.
So there you go. So
It's true.
you let us know out there, people, and we'll go from there. Haley, do we have any questions yet?
No questions yet, guys. Come in and ask. Now's your chance because you're not going to get a chance to really talk to these guys. Well, Josh, of course, you can talk to, but never Trevor. I'm his gatekeeper.
We hide him in the back, and we can't unchain him from the... and also, happy Thanksgiving, everybody. Happy Thanksgiving. It's been a fun one. So, anyway, I may as well ask Cameron, how's motorcycle insurance been going in the motorcycle insurance world this year?
Yeah, really, really good. And I know this year we've had a ton of success with M1 riders. We can take anybody. That's another thing, Allstate's really good at right now is M1 riders. We can take those now. So M1, M2, full M, of course. Anybody over 30 years of age had got the M1, we can take it. We need to do something else with it, whether it's a car or house or something else, but I can at least get you a quote for stuff like that. So we've had a ton of success with M1 riders getting guys and gals on the road. So just tell your friends, or if you're looking to get a bike or thinking of getting a bike, all you got to do is write your M1. Give me a call, see Josh for a bike, and we can absolutely get you on the road and get you some insurance at a decent price. So just to kind of reiterate that, I know from last time we had that. So that's been success. Maybe another tip, not relating motorcycle insurance, but just insurance, I've noticed just one little tip to help everybody is maybe to increase the rental car coverage, just because if you ever get into an accident, parts are, probably you guys noticed it here, parts are not as frequently available. So the rental car has to be extended and things like that. So you can always increase that on your policy, whether it's with me or your other insurance provider. So just a tip. But back to motorcycle stuff, definitely M1, M2 riders we've had a ton of success with this year.
Should we do 1 million or 2 million?
I mean, for younger people, it's more of a price thing. So I see a lot of younger people go with the 1 million. Depending on how much business you have, 2 million's kind of the new normal. So You can always increase that. Some people are super price conscious, so some people are $2 a month difference, some are $20 a month difference, depending on their driving record. So you can always check that out price-wise for sure.
If I have a financed bike, am I full coverage, or can I do liability only?
No, you have to do full coverage because the bank owns part of that bike as well. Yeah.
Okay. No one's asking any questions, so I'm just coming up with them.
Perfect. Well, that's great. Well, hey, I'll ask a question for Trevor then. Trevor, tell us, just take us through the process. If somebody, let's say they come in and they said, what's the best thing for me to do for my bike over the winter? If I'm just going to store it by myself in my garage.
If you're just going to store it by yourself in your garage, what I would do is I would... if you're doing it by yourself and you don't want to get too crazy and you're not me, what I would do is for sure stabilize your fuel. Depending on what kind of fuel delivery system you have, if you have a carburetor, you're going to want to stabilize your fuel, run your bike, of course, and then at the end of that, drain your carburetor. Your battery, I always like to monitor my battery. The easiest way to do that is to use a battery tender charger. That's going to bring your battery all the way up. It's going to notice it's all the way up. It'll let it die down a little bit, to 80%, and then keep it in a healthy range throughout the winter so it's not either being overcharged or not charged at all. That's going to help out when the spring hits and you want your bike to start. Other than that, it is nice to go over your bike and just, do some checks on it before you put it away for the winter, just so you're well prepared in the springtime, so you don't have any surprises. You rather take care of something over the winter than, wait all summer or a couple weeks in the summer for a part, or just to be able to be scheduled in. If you have the ability to and you like to change the oil on your bike, that's another cool thing you can do before the bike goes away, just because after your oil's been run for a period of time, it starts to get some toxins and stuff in it that's not the most ideal to leave sitting in your crankcase or your oil pan for the winter if you have the opportunity. If not, you might not see long-term effects on that, but it makes you feel good when your baby's put away for the winter.
Should I take my battery out or leave it in, Rick McFarlane?
It depends. If you have in my opinion, if your motorcycle's in a place where it's has ventilation and you can get access to the battery to plug it in, you can leave it in the motorcycle. It could be up to preference. I know in the past when I've stored my motorcycle in cold storage, I've brought my battery into something that is temperature monitored, so you have heat in there, and then that's where I'll plug my battery in and bring it in there. However, now that I'm lucky and I get to store my bike here at Classy, it's in a temperature controlled environment, and I just plug my bike in, leave the battery in, and usually it's good to go.
Do you have space left for storage?
We got space left for
Zach?
storage.
It's filling up, but yes, we have some space left, yeah.
So it is filling up, so call in and make sure you're on the list, right?
Probably at like 2/3 full.
2/3 full. And it happens fast because everyone procrastinates. What's the cost of insurance for a first-time rider and an older rider? Loaded question.
Yeah, so we actually our rates are based on kind of the motorcycle. So a person who's 40 years of age versus someone who's 30 years of age, if they both have their M1 license, for example, they're actually going to get the same price. So we base the price on the bike, but we qualify based on the rider. So if they have accidents or tickets, then the bike will get a good price, but you won't qualify to be with Allstate. So if it's the same bike, the price is actually the same with us as of right now. We might stagger the rates in the future. M1, M2 gets a better rate than M1, and M license gets a better rate than M2. But right now it's actually the same. Once you have your M license for over 4 years, you get an elite rider discount, which is 30%. So if someone's been riding forever and has their M license, they are going to get a 30% better rate than an M1 or an M2 rider.
Allstate has an app for driving.
Yes.
Does that apply to motorcycles?
No, it doesn't.
Only cars?
Only cars.
Thank
yeah.
God.
Yeah.
Some,
The app, you can put it on your phone, and some people have their phone in their pocket and they're riding like a bicycle, and it tracks it.
Really?
Yeah.
or on your friend.
Yeah.
Coming
You're on
to
the passenger.
Wisconsin.
Yeah, have an extra Charlene on the way to Wisconsin.
remove. So,
That was it. I should have kept it. But that's a really cool app too. I know that's not motorcycle related, but it's actually pretty forgiving app.
it is.
I still got I got 25%, I think.
Super user friendly. So it's not perfect. There's always human error and things like that. So you can remove trips. You can delete trips. If you're driving in a taxi or something like that, and the taxi driver's crazy and he hard brakes and you forgot to turn your phone off or the app, you can delete them and remove them. So it's a good discount. It's only a promotion to help you earn a discount. Your rate's not going to go up due to that.
So I don't have to put that.
Your rates will only go down.
Yeah.
Yeah, if you put it on.
Well, not if you drive with Charlene.
I won't even say how fast she was going. Any more questions, guys? There's a lot of you in here, and now's your chance. I don't want to answer phone calls where you guys are saying, "Can I speak to a tech?" when we're here right now.
We are doing.
If you hadn't had bike insurance for a few years, but had a spotless record, do you start at a low rating again? Sorry to interrupt you there.
No, that's perfect. So with us, we look at, so if you were riding for, let's say, 3 years, 17, 18, 19, and haven't ridden the last couple of years, we still take those 3 years into consideration, and you would still get a great rate.
Awesome.
Yep, 100%.
All right.
And I've seen guys where they've, rode from 95 to 2000, and then they have a gap for the last 20 years. We will still take all of those years into consideration. Yeah. So it's, and I've had tons of people where they've got their M1, their M2, and then they didn't do the M road test, and then they went right back to an M1, but they show all this prior. And so that's a perfect rider, because we know the history's there. So the only downfall is they start at an M1, but we still treat them as a great rider, and they don't get the 30% elite rider discount an M licensed rider would, but they still get a good rate with us for sure.
I got a question for Trev.
Cool.
Mike Jeffrey, how do I choose the right bars for my motorcycle?
It's a valid question, and it's a hard answer because, in my opinion and from my experience, at the end of the day, you almost have to sit on the motorcycle with the bars, and you have to feel, the difference on where your hands are sitting. If you have the opportunity to go for road tests, then that's the best thing to do. Have seat time on a bike. Maybe you have a really good friend, who has different height handlebars. I find the biggest thing is going to be the height. Usually we know where we kind of want our wrists sitting. If we're too far in, it's uncomfortable, and you don't see them often where they're throwing your wrists out. So it at the end of the day, it's how high do you want your arms. I know some people who they'll have their arms straight out, and that's very comfortable for them. But at the end of the day, it's the best way to do it is if you can get some seat time on a motorcycle, and if you can have it set up with what your seat is going to be and what your seating position on your bike's going to be. So if you see demo days going on or something like that, even if it's not the exact model you have, if you can get something with the different heights, so you can try that out. Yeah, that's
And
what I would
I
do.
always encourage people, come on in with your bike, and then when you sit down on the bike, what I do is I measure you up, because naturally where your hands go, so you can see my hand, where your hands go is usually where you want to be, and you usually have an idea of where you want to be sitting. And judging, you'll tell me okay, so my neck's hurting, right? So when your neck's hurting, I tell you need to go in a different position and things like that. So I'll just measure you up typically, and then we'll go from there.
So there you go. Sometimes it's best to talk to the handlebar experts in our parts department. She sold a many a bar.
Yeah.
Did I miss any questions? Nope, that's it from Mike Jeffrey. Any more, guys?
I did want to say really quick that I'm almost at the point where I can give Cameron a year review on the new insurance I got, and so far I've really been enjoying it. I did get a lower rate both on my auto and my motorcycle, as well as that being packaged with my content insurance. And one of the highlights so far with having to deal with Cameron is like a couple of weeks ago, I had a Visa card change. Sometimes when you have to contact insurance, it takes forever to talk to somebody. Within 5 minutes, I got Cameron on the phone. He changed out the credit card information, and boom, I'm off and running. So there's no, I'm not fighting any barriers. Taking care of my insurance with Cameron.
Easy to get a hold of.
Very, very relaxing, easy time. Yeah.
So another question from Clint: do we have a good selection of cables for those swapping bars this winter? So we do have lots of cables here for sure. I'm not going to say we don't, but a lot of the times it's pretty proprietary to what you need. If you have ABS, or if you just need certain easy flips, if you want braided steel, if you want, there's a whole bunch of different styles. So we do have a lot of cables in stock. We likely have the cables you need, but you may need to get some ordered, but there's no real back order on cables right now for us.
And I think the
We got a lot of questions coming in now.
They'll be, Haley will be able to match your cables up with your bar and the look of your bike as well.
Cost to have a bike put on a dyno.
If you're tuning it,
He doesn't want to go on camera, but like he should be.
if you're tuning it, it's $700 plus tax. That includes the labor to do it and the tuning software. If you want to
Louder.
just get a dyno readout for your horsepower and torque, you're $65.
Can you post Cameron's info, please? I'd like to do a comparison, Darlene. We'll post that. Cameron gave both Jan and I great rates for the home, car, and bike. Thanks, Bob Coleman. We can always count on Bob. Kevin, can I have a donut, please? Well, you'd have to come in.
Yes.
Free donut with your purchase.
This one, and that one when the camera's off, whatever's left.
At one time as a sandwich.
Yes.
Yep.
And actually today too, everybody who commented and shared will be entered into a draw. And normally we do $50, but Cameron's here today, so this is on Cameron. So Cameron's going to do a $100 gift card.
Oh!
So everybody who likes, shares, comments.
Giveaway.
We're doing a giveaway of a $100 gift card, and we will randomly select. I don't know what.
It's a giveaway.
Mike's going to get this onto YouTube right away, so if the Facebook
It's
pulls
a
it
giveaway.
down, we'll be able to put it back up. But we're doing a little giveaway here today. So, but yeah, like it, share it, all that good stuff, and thank you very much, Cameron, for doing that. Any more? So no more questions. I didn't get any questions. I'll answer the question. I know everybody's asking, but
See
the
that?
answer is I have no idea why I'm so good looking.
It's the,
All right, Zach's got a question.
It is. People probably already know what you guys ride.
can you
but-
yell?
What?
Yell.
People
You're back there.
probably already know what you guys ride. Maybe they don't, but so you could tell them what you ride. And also, is there a bike that you have ridden before but don't own that you could see yourself owning or riding regularly?
That's a great question. Cameron, what bikes do you ride?
I don't ride a bike.
Fucking poser.
I just insure them. I don't
That's
ride
right.
a bike.
That's
Yeah.
right. It's probably. Sorry for cursing too. This is now officially not safe for work.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, I'll. He's gonna ride a Royal Enfield soon. We know. Yeah, actually, now that you mentioned that, what I do ride right now is I ride a 2013 CVO Road Glide. I love it. It's the one that I saw that I had to have. It's my dream bike, and I'll probably keep that one forever. What bike I could see myself actually owning, and you guys are all going to call me a homer or a poser and all that kind of stuff, but that new Zero DSRX is actually quite a machine. And I tell you, I know not everybody's. I know I'm sort of on the wrong crowd here trying to talk about how great Zeros are and stuff like that, but at the end of the day, that they're a really cool bike to ride. And I'm not saying they're for everybody, but that new Zero DSRX, it's an adventure bike. It's an upright position, lots of torque, lots of horsepower, really responsive. It's really, really a cool riding experience. So, and they're actually, they're way less than a Tesla. So that's been pretty good. So they will be a market segment, but that's sort of the one that I think I could see myself owning in the future.
Awesome. I have two whips right now. I got the 1980 CB750 Custom. It's a bike that I purchased about maybe in 2018 and just brought her back to a nice golden stock there. So that's a fun one to get around. And then the other one I have is a 2013 CB1100A. It was a really cool motorcycle Honda had come out with in 2010, and they ran that model until 2013. So that one I really enjoy. It gets me going, kind of up north in Ontario and kind of all over the place. I enjoy that. And if I could have another bike, and or the next bike I'll get, maybe I'll finally jump over and get a Harley in my collection. That'd be cool. I like me a Road King Classic as a nice bike, and the other kind of
a 2012.
Oh man, here
It's
we
like-
go.
it's beautiful.
Let's just do it live right now. We'll do it live.
We'll do
He's
it
gonna
on
do the
service.
insurance for it.
We'll get you the quote. I'll do the financing and everything. Away we go.
And then I also like the world of adventure tour too. I think that's a really cool idea that you can, travel, and then of course once you've traveled, you can go off road and check out back roads and stuff like that. So I could see that in my future as well.
That was a great question, Jack. And actually, Haley, tell us about what you ride right now. And keep it to 6 bikes, please.
1978 CB750 chopper,
Yep.
rigid frame, Springer front end. Most of you guys that have come by have seen it out front. And then the bike that I could see, there's 2. A 1960 Panhead I see myself on in the next picture. And then a 1980 FLT Tour Glide. That's
Nice.
what I want. The predecessor to the Road
Road
Glide.
Glide.
I love that thing.
And if you don't know what it looks like, and you visit our parts department, you look on the counter because she's got the little model.
I keep a toy in the front of the bike that I want, so that anyone that picks up the toy and they go, "Oh, I got that bike." I go, "How much do you want for it?" But what else? We got another question.
Oh.
What's the kilometer range on a Zero? Another loaded one.
It depends really on how you're going to ride it, but and which model, because they have models that start at basically $11,000-$12,000, and then the models that go right up to $32,000. But like for example, that adventure touring bike I was talking about, there's a couple different ways. I know if you want to just go straight out of the spec book, on the highway it's 150 kilometers. In the city it's 300 kilometers. If you wanted to take that into account as sort of adventure riding, they said basically if you go on like an aggressive adventure ride, you can get 13 hours of riding out of that. And if you wanted to go aggressive, you could get about 6 hours of riding out of it. So my real world testing that I've put on them so far, basically I can go anywhere between 3 to 3.5 hours before I actually need a charge. So it's just sort of it's the exact same as a regular gas motorcycle. It's just the whole thing. Everybody knows where to get gasoline. Nobody's really sure where to get the charging. So, but with the charge stations, basically by the time we went up to Algonquin Park, I would have made it to Algonquin Park to the P store, no problem, and I would have been charged up and ready to go for the rest of the ride. Basically after we were done lunch at the Portage store.
Oh, so it doesn't take that long to charge.
Not on the fast charging stations, and there are more and more fast charging stations coming
Awesome.
out. So, and especially with depending, and again, it is a loaded question, because if you take, for example, an FX that's got a 7.2 kilowatt battery, and you're only going to do 140 in total, plus it doesn't have level 2 charging. It only has level 1 charging, but like Bob always says, the more you spend, the further you go, the faster it charges, the faster they go. So
Honestly, I've worked with a lot of OEMs in my past. Zero by far knocks it out of the park for any kind of help. Like
Absolutely.
I can always get a hold of somebody if there's any issue with any Zero. Like
yeah.
that, it's sorted out within the day.
Yeah.
And that's saying a lot. So now that I've been in the industry, the things that I look at for an OEM is what is the support like for the parts person, for the shop that's dealing with them. And that's something I take into consideration. And both Royal Enfield and Zero have been amazing. Yeah, like they don't screw people around.
thing, so.
What's the cost to charge?
Cost to charge, basically, most charge stations, if you go to a public, like if you go to a library, or for example, the ones we're going to have here, they're going to be no charge for motorcycles. But essentially, if you look at, they sort of vary, but about $1.50 an hour. And a Zero would take about an hour, 2 hours to charge. So you're about $1.50 to $3 for a tank of fuel. Sort of, and that's only if you're out. If you're basically plugging it into your wall at the end of the day when you're home, I think it's less than $1 of electricity you're using. So, yeah.
Trev, what's the quickest way to add horsepower to my tourer?
I think the quickest way, if you have just a stock motorcycle, is to quickest and easiest is if you're changing your mufflers and your air cleaner. And by mufflers, I mean you can just change the back portion of your exhaust, just the mufflers, air cleaner, and then if we have the opportunity then to put a tuner on the bike, throw it on the dyno, you're gonna feel a big difference, horsepower, torque. Just in that one, change up. That's the easiest, healthiest, simplest way you could, get your bike going a little bit quicker. And to be honest with you, there are a lot of cases where we can take a totally stock build, put a tuner on it, throw it on the dyno, and you can still get either more performance or better, fuel. Fuel per tank or whatever. So yeah. And with all those, you can always choose to do more with your motorcycle. If you do that, you like the change and you want more, you can always add more to those parts. You don't necessarily have to start from the beginning. If then you decide you want to go with a cam or a full exhaust
cams,
system,
baby.
yeah, or head work, whatever. You can start small and then build your way up. So there's always that option. You don't have to do it all at once.
What's something that sneaks up on riders when I'm just doing newer touring. They've been clipping along for 5 years. What is something that they should get checked if they haven't already checked it? So something, how do I word it? Like something that sneaks up on them. They don't necessarily know that it's actually gone bad. Maybe like a type of bearing or whatever. What is something that someone should check after 5 years of riding? Yeah.
So Zach did say a really good one. Steering head bearings are something that will sneak up on you. Usually that's something if, especially if I'm doing a service, I take my time. I really feel through the whole range of the movement of your steering head. And sometimes if you're slow enough and you're feeling close enough, you can start to feel them go pretty early. So it's nice to let people know. There's sometimes where a bike comes in and I feel what's called a notch, where as I sweep through the steering radius of the bars and the front end, and you can literally feel a notch where it drops into that, and then it'll have to pop out. When it gets to that level, what you're going to start seeing, or you might not even feel this, is your bike can start to weave on you a little bit. And it's also going to just influence the way that your motorcycle is going down the road. So it's a big one to
and that's something you get used to over time. That's the thing with steering head
sometimes
bearings.
You don't even notice, and then by the time somebody tells you, you get it fixed and you jump on your bike, it's like a brand new motorcycle again. Another thing that depending on what type of rider you are, a compensator is something that we look at a lot. Popping open the primary side, that's just your drive gear, and the primary bringing the power from the engine to the clutch. That's one of those components that's made to get beat up. So if you're beating it up, usually after a few years you're looking at changing that out or looking at that. So those are two kind of ones
sneaky
that can
buggers.
Sneak up on you.
So if you've been riding your bike, we'll say it's hard too, because you could hit a pothole and your steering head bearings get knocked out too.
Yeah. And it depends on what type of bike you have.
Yeah. So if you haven't checked your steering head bearings, are we doing those inspections?
Oh yeah, we're doing free inspections.
Like, why not come by and it's a quick, easy check, right? You can feel the notches and the flat spots in those bearings.
I also just wanted to
Quite
shoehorn
fast.
this in here because I'm one of the techs that handle, just like the other two techs, a lot of the storage bikes that come in. We do offer like different tiers of storage plans. If you come in and you talk to Zach, he'll be able to explain all of the different ones. But what I do have to say is even if you're getting the bare bones, bringing your bike here, you're getting the storage level 1 or whatever they call it, we're looking over your whole motorcycle. So if you can imagine, it's the fall right now, we look over your whole bike. If I find a handful of things that you should address or you should be aware of, that doesn't mean you have to get them, that work done right away, but it does mean you have that information now. You have the opportunity to get it done before spring hits and summer hits, because we all know how much it sucks if you're waiting for a part. 2 weeks in, you could be riding, and you're waiting for that, as opposed to, getting this stuff done when you're not riding anyway. So it's such a cool thing, I find, that that they offer here. That inspection. Wow, I left them speechless.
No, that's great. And like I said, the one thing we always do like to tell people is, you know, Johnny left us one heck of a great building here, and you know, the nice thing is we're open all year. Basically, we only close down 2 weeks for Christmas. So anytime you want to come in and get something done on your bike, or if you're at a bike show and you see something that you want for your bike, if your bike's here, we can get it on for you and get you going in the spring. Because the one thing that always happens, there's a log jam in spring. No matter how many times I beat the drum and just say, make sure you get your service done in the fall so you're ready for that first ride in the spring. People are always still calling and saying, I got a ride this weekend in May, and you know, and I just realized my tire was bald. Well, your tire was bald in the fall, so it didn't all of a sudden get bald before your first ride. So try to get all that stuff done now where we have time. And the other thing too is, yes, we can do appointments while you wait right now, but it's always best if you leave the motorcycle, because it's one of those things that, you know, we might say it's going to take 3 hours, but then next thing you know, something happens where, you know, it takes us a little longer. Doesn't mean we're going to charge you anymore. It just means sometimes people get a little frustrated by waiting. But like I said, if you can leave the motorcycle with us for a day, 1, 2 days, 3 days, 1 week, that gives us the time to actually do it private. All winter. Exactly. Yeah, exactly.
How early can someone get their bike out when the spring comes?
You just give us 2 weeks notice and we'll get it for you. And actually, we can normally do it about 1 week. Just when we get into April or May. Normally people wait till about May. We always like to think that we're riding in March, but we're really technically, like most of the time, I don't even put my bike on the road until the May barbecue. So that's like the end of May. But it's whenever you want it, we can. That's the nice thing is we don't have to go to somebody else's building to get it. It's in our building, right? So we can just basically shove it around. In the spring, yes, 2 weeks notice for sure. But like I said, if it's like earlier than that, let's say March, April, you're going to you're going, say you're going to Daytona and you say, hey, I want my bike out, we can get it for you in about a week. But yes, 2 weeks notice is sort of what we're looking for.
And of course, you do have the facilities if somebody's in a situation where they need their bike picked up or dropped off. You know, if they talk to us, you know.
Yeah, we got a truck and a driver, and if you need it, you need to come pick it up. And even we might be full for storage, but you might have a garage where you want us to do some work over the winter as well. We can come pick the bike up. Obviously, we charge for that with the price of gas these days, but we could just pick your bike up, bring it in, service it, bring it back to you. Stuff like that. So, and the nice thing is we're not, and the other thing too, guys, is we're not going to push any motorcycles off benches because it's snowmobile season, or it's ATV season, or it's watercraft season. We only do motorcycles. So, we don't store classic cars or anything as well. It's just motorcycles. So that's sort of what I love. We're not a power sports place. We're a motorcycle shop. So, and as you've noticed, we've kind of changed our name to Classy Chassis Motorcycles, because it was Classy Chassis and Cycles, because when we started we did classic cars, but then when the guy who knew about classic cars passed away, then we just said, well, nobody knows about classic cars, so we're just going to do motorcycles. So we've been doing nothing but motorcycles for the last 15 years. So.
Nice. And we insure them all year round too.
Yes.
So there's a ton of people that go down to Florida, go down south, ride them. So if you're one of those riders that rides in Ontario and then takes it down down south, we insure it all year round anywhere in North America. So.
Oh, really?
Yeah,
okay.
Hawaii included. So,
okay.
Yeah.
Go to Hawaii.
Yeah, maybe not Florida right now. It might be but,
Florida, yeah.
But down south for sure. Myrtle Beach, there's a ton of people that take their bikes down. It's fully covered, so if you had a claim down there, it'd be no different if you had a claim here.
Awesome.
So yeah,
that's
how
good
long
to know.
Have you guys seen someone ride a bike into the season for? What's the latest?
Well, one guy.
We see a guy on a Euro drive by all year.
Yeah?
Like all year. So he's a teacher at the local public school. I've never met him. I just know him because he drives a bright orange Euro, and he drives.
And he also goes to some of the chopper campouts.
And you just see him
I'll have to
driving
introduce
all
you
year
to him.
round. You know what? That's it's pretty rare, you know. But it's we've had people in the past actually take pictures of our sign out front. Jim Hall actually took a picture of our sign out front and said Merry Christmas. He was riding on Christmas one year. It was one.
Oh yeah, 2015 or something like that. It was like 15 degrees.
One of those days. So yeah, it's a passion-based business, that's for sure. So it's or I guess for us it's a business. For everybody else, it's just a passion, right? So yeah,
that's what makes it fun.
yeah.
Okay, what's next now?
Okay, so we're calling Trevor. But yeah, anyway, hope everybody enjoyed this today. We may as well wrap it up. Are there any more questions?
There's
for us?
one really good question.
Okay.
Okay. If you're riding in a helmet-free state down south, are you still covered?
Yeah, because we insure the bike. So yeah, you'd be fine because you got to follow the rules of the road. So, I mean, if the bike gets damaged, we still do that. If you still get hurt, we still pay to fix you up. So yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
So that's all right then.
Yeah. It's kind of like seatbelts. Well, that's a bad example. You got to wear a seatbelt everywhere. But no, I know down south that you don't have to wear a helmet at all. You see good-looking guys like Josh with all the hair. And
I did it once. It's terrifying. I did it.
Yeah, it still creeps me out when I see it.
They're nuts.
I did it, and I was so sunny. It was down in Florida, and we were at Mike and Shelley's, and we were going to do a quick ride over to get some root beer.
Yeah.
And actually, that's what we were going to get was root beer. And we drove. We jumped on the bikes, and the next thing I know, we're on the freeway, and I had my hat on backwards, and I just feel the wind against my hat, and all I kept thinking is my head's a grape. My head's a grape, right? So it's like there's no walking away from this one. So it was something I've tried, but I don't think it's something I'm going to make a habit.
Are we doing this on the live?
We'll do that. We'll basically do that for next week. So what we'll do is give everybody a chance to watch this, and and basically
so the
it's gonna
draw
be a
giveaway
for everybody who comments, likes, shares.
for next week.
$100.
Tell your friends.
And that's
Sponsored by Cam.
And that's sponsored by Cameron at Allstate. So we want to thank Cameron for that. And like I said, not only are we a client, but not only does we work with him, we all use his insurance here. So, and we've actually run into a couple and a classic story too is it's always great to have somebody who will answer the phone. We had a situation actually yesterday. We had a situation yesterday where basically Cameron said, "Well, we could have got him insurance in time if that guy would have just made the extra call," and that's something I would do, and he always does make that extra call. So, yes, insurance in Ontario is sort of all created equal. You guys all legislated in certain ways, but it's always important to have somebody on the other end of the phone for sure. So,
And then reminder: don't send pictures that look like they were taken with a potato.
right.
If you're taking blurry pictures or the resolution is not stretchable or printable, don't be upset if it's not in there. It's just it's not good quality. So don't take pictures with potatoes and you'll get in. Yeah, look at all this cool stuff. And you know what? You're likely in here. If you're watching this live, it means you probably come to our events. So, lots of memories.
Trev got pulled.
He's got to go to work.
He's got to go to work. So, also a reminder today, we're only open till 2. We're closed on Tuesday as well for Thanksgiving. So, happy Thanksgiving, everybody. Hi, Stevie. Hi, Leia. And also today we have free motorcycle inspections, so service inspections. I think that's pretty much all we need to do. Haley, is there any more questions? I don't want to leave anybody cut off.
Gary mentioned a competitor, and Gary, I'm not going to mention that competitor's name.
Oh, okay.
So.
Okay, neat. Awesome. Thank you, Gary.
I'm not talking about them. Okay. Thanks, guys.
All right. Take care, guys. See you later.
guys.